Hello, Junior 3. Well, in this video, we are going to reread chapter 2. Are you ready? Good. Chapter 2. Well, the title of this chapter is Who are you? I wondered why Professor Sandsnout needed my help. I decided to go visit him at the museum to find out. Of course, a trip to the museum is always a lot more fun with my favorite little nephew, Benjamin. I quickly called my Aunt Sweet's first mouse hole. That's where Benjamin lives. Would you like to come with me to the Egyptian Museum? I asked my nephew. You can bring a friend if you like. There was an excited squeak on the other end of the phone. I took off for Aunt Sweet first right away. I knocked on the front door, then strolled inside. That's when I was hit with a big surprise. And I mean hit. With a whoosh, the kitchen door crashed open and slammed me right in the whiskers. Ah! I screeched before I passed out. As soon as I came to, I saw a little female mouse standing over me. She had black hair and she wore in lots of tiny braids. A green bandana with little hearts on it covered the top of her head, and an expensive camera hung around her neck. She grabbed my paw and squeezed it hard. Holy cheese! Who taught this mouse how to shake paws? Mad Mouse Max? The bone-crushing rodent wrestler? I wonder if I'll ever be able to write again. Who are you? I stammered, massaging my sore paw. The strange little mouse broke into a wide grin. I'm Bugsy Wugsy. That's Bugsywugsy, she shrieked. My ears started ringing. I wondered if I ever hear out of it again. First my paw, then my ear. Who was this mouselet, and what would she do next? I was afraid to find out. Well, so that is the end of chapter 2. And right here we have Bugsy Wugsy's profile. So let's take a closer look. First name, Bugsy. Last name, Wugsy. Nickname, Little Tornado. Who she is? Petunia Pretty Paws niece. Her interests. Like her Aunt Petunia, she loves everything about nature, animals and plants. Her favorite sport, climbing trees. Her secret, she has a crush on Benjamin. She's in love with Benjamin. So we've got this new character, Bugsy Wugsy. And do we know who Petunia Pretty Paws is? Not really. We know that Petunia Pretty Paws is Bugsy Wugsy's aunt, but we don't know who she is. Okay, let's take a look back into some of the vocabulary. I wondered. We've talked about this word, right? I asked myself, I wonder why Professor Sunsnout needed my help. Good. Later on, we get to this word, mouse hole. I quickly call my Aunt Sweet first mouse hole. Mouse hole is the place where mice live. It's like the mice's house. Good. Then I squeak. In this chapter, we're going to have many words that refer to sounds, as you can see. So squeak, as I wrote here, it means the sharp noise mice make. Can you imagine if we have a mouse inside a box? What would you listen to? Most probably a sound like something like this, something very, very sharp. Here. I knocked on the front door, then strolled inside. It's to walk in a slow way, in a relaxed way. Then the kitchen door crashed open and slammed me right in the whiskers. Remember what are whiskers? Good. So many animals have whiskers. In this case, mice also have whiskers. I screech. When you screech is when you shout, but like in pain. Like, I don't know, maybe you have something in your thumb and you say, ow, ow, and you screech. Before I passed out. To pass out is when you faint. It's the same. I passed out. Good. Let's take a look at these. And an expensive camera hung around her neck. Remember expensive when we talk about knights? And that knights had horses that they were very expensive. It means that they costed a lot of money. They were very expensive. And here, look at this phrase. This is excellent. Holy cheese. Here, he's making like a funny joke with the words. It could be holy for the holes that cheese have, like the one we have there as a background, or holy because we say, oh, holy, like, oh my God, what is she doing? Because she squeezed his paw. His paw are like the hands of the mice, okay? So those are their paws. We don't have paws, we have hands. And she squeezed it very hard. I stammered. If you, maybe you paid attention to me while I was reading, I say, who are you? And I make like this, I stammered. It's when you repeat certain sounds and you cannot continue, maybe because you're nervous, most probably, okay? And here she shrieked. When shrieked is when you shout because you're too excited. Okay? That's why he said, ow, my ears started ringing. It's like, hey, could you stop shouting, please? That's why he was complaining about his paw and then his ear. Good. Okay, let's take a look at Geronimus family. In this chapter, we get to know different characters that they all belong to Geronimus family. So let's take a look. Let's start with Geronimo. I created this, this small family tree. Okay, so we have Geronimo here. Geronimo had a mother and a father, Geronimo's mother and Geronimo's father, because we don't know their names. And we also have grandmother and grandfather, right? So we get to know that Geronimo has a sibling. We don't know if it's a girl or a boy. So that's why we say sibling. Maybe you can also use the word sibling when you're making reference to your brothers and you want to say, I have one brother and one sister, and you just say my two siblings. It's for girls and for boys, okay? So Geronimo has a sibling that is Benjamin's mother or father. We don't know that. But we do know that Benjamin is Geronimus' nephew, okay? So if I were Benjamin, suppose I am Benjamin. Hello, I am Benjamin. I love going on adventures with my uncle Geronimo, okay? And Geronimo says, I love going on adventures with my nephew Benjamin. Nephew, it's in case it is a boy, but in case it is a girl, then we say niece, okay? Good. And in case Geronimo was a girl, we would say aunt. So uncle for boys, aunt for girls, nephew for boys, niece for girls. Good. And then we can see that Geronimo has a sister, Thea Stilton, that it's the one that we have here. Look at the back of the book. And when you open the book on page 1, doesn't have got a number. Here it says Geronimo's sister and special correspondent at the Rodden's Gazette. So we have Thea, that is Geronimo's sister, and Geronimo is her brother. And then let's continue with this family tree. We get to know that Geronimo's father had a brother and a sister. This sister is Sweetfur Stilton, is the one that Geronimo talks about. So Geronimo says that Benjamin, the little nephew, lives in Aunt Sweetfur's mouse hole. Okay? And then we have another uncle that we don't know. This is Geronimo's uncle. And his son is Trap, that we don't get to know Trap, but he's here. He's part of the book. Good. So, with all this family tree that belongs to Geronimo's family, we are going to complete today's activity. Write down the date as always and the day number. The Mummy with No Name, chapter 2. It says, reread chapter 2 and complete these sentences about Geronimo's family using apostrophe S. Remember when we talked about apostrophe S? That means that something belongs to somebody or there is a relationship between two persons or things. Well, this is the case. For example, Geronimo is uncle. Who is the person that we are going to complete here that says, oh, Geronimo is my uncle? Let's see. Geronimo is, well, this one, it's easy and we can do it together. Let me write here. Geronimo is Benjamin, apostrophe S, Benjamin's uncle, okay? So the first one, I did it for you. And this is how little by little you'll be completing these sentences. On the other hand, activity number 2 is label each part of Geronimo's body. And there we have got different parts of the body. If you cannot print these, then just make a drawing as you can do it, don't worry, and then you're going to label. Remember that to label is to do this. You have to draw an arrow and, for example, tail. Well, this one, it's easy and you already know what a tail is. So we just label tail, we get an arrow out of it, and you write tail. There, good. Okay, so this is what you need to do with these, with Geronimo's body. You need to label his different parts. So we have got the tail, the whiskers that were also included in this chapter, the snout, it's like their nose, it's called snout on animals. For example, mouse and bunnies also have a snout that they move like this. The paws that we talked about, the fur, that it's their skin, that it's full of tiny little hairs, and their ears, of course, the same as ours. Okay, whenever you are done with this work, just send us a picture of it and we'll correct it as soon as possible. See you around. Bye-bye.